Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 42 of Like, Share, Follow. And this week I have Jessie Martin, who is a social media manager with Coastal Social Co. because it's just been rebranded. So, how you going, Jessie? And congratulations on your graduation yesterday.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Now, look, normally I say, gee, it's been a while since I last saw you. What have you been doing? But it hasn't been that long since I last saw you. But still, you were telling me just before we went live just about all the amazing work that you're doing. So, yeah, please explain to the people watching what you have been doing since uni broke up last year.
Yeah. So it's only been like a couple of months, really. But it's weird that transition between like you kind of finish in October and then you don't graduate till like April. So like I've been out for ages. So yeah, I think last time we kind of were talking when I was at uni, I was having some like issues with an employer and you kind of helped me leave that situation, which wasn't ideal. And I guess like I kind of had some confidence issues after that. Like I felt like a bit scared to go into another job because it was just like not a nice work environment. But eventually I got lucky enough to get a job with Coastal Social Co., who recently rebranded from Sunshine Coast Marketing and Media. And she offered me just some contract work to do social media managing, and it's kind of become more of like a part-time position. I'm looking at going up part-time in the new financial year and then eventually full-time, hopefully. So that's exciting. And then I've also kind of started my own business. Well, I have started my own business. It just doesn't really feel like a real business because it's new, you know? And I think I like to kind of think of it as, I'm just like doing something for fun on the side instead of like I have a business, because it's less scary if you put it like that. But yeah, it's been really cool. Like I started that as my kind of like passion project and a little bit of like a creative outlet. And I've just been doing it, like putting myself into it, I guess. And it's gained a bit of traction, and I've gotten like quite a few inquiries of people wanting to work with me, which has been really good. So yeah, I'm kind of balancing those two roles of like have a job and I'm doing my own thing as well, which is really exciting that employers like are happy. Some employers are happy to let you do that and have your own as well.
And so with your own business, so do you just use your name? Are you a sole trader, or do you have a name for the business?
I named it because I was a freelancer during uni. Since your networking event, I kind of got into that and did a lot. And then I decided when I was creating this page that I would give it a name because it kind of made sense. And I wanted to separate like my personal Instagram with a more like social media marketing focused Instagram. So I chose Oh Hello Social Co. because I liked Hello Social, and then because it felt like a like very well like hello is social kind of thing. It just was a cool mix, but you have to go through so much of like you come up with these cool names that you love and you feel like that's the one, and then it's taken. Like so you have to tweak a little bit, and I think adding co everyone kind of does these days, and it's handy. And the oh hello I just thought was cool because it could like a lot of my captions start with oh hello, and it kind of is on brand. So I felt like I could kind of play around with that a lot, and yeah, it was fun.
And it rhymes. Like I like that. And so, like you mentioned that the networking event. So, just to explain people who are watching. So, in one of the social media courses at USC, we match each student with a local business owner, and they develop a social media strategy and social media content and a video as part of that. And then the clients get it at the end. But then what we also do is we hold an event where we invite all the clients from the course, and we find out which ones are open to the prospect of possibly hiring a social media student from USC to do some freelance work, some paid freelance work. And then we invite all the students and tell us, if they are open to freelance work. And so what we do is we get each of them to wear the same name badge. So then while they're sort of networking and meeting each other, they can identify who is open to those opportunities to make it easier and less daunting for both sides, so they can find each other in the crowd.
Yeah.
And so that works usually. Usually we end up with students being employed as part of that event. And so is that what happened to you, Jessie? And that wasn't last year, was it? It was the year before?
Yeah,
right?
the year 2019. Yeah, it was my second year.
Yeah, because last year we had to do an online version last year.
Yeah.
But we managed to get through. And so before that, had you ever considered doing social media work on a freelance basis while you were studying?
So when I started doing, I think 2019 was when I started my social media subjects with you. So I hadn't really.
You didn't do the whole major, did you? You did the minor and then.
Yeah, because like I actually started out with a Bachelor of Business, a dual degree, business and arts. Like that's what I decided to start with. And after my first semester, like because I did a random elective in my first semester, it kind of messed everything up when I changed to doing just business and marketing and stuff. So I couldn't do the major, but I think I did all the subjects except for one. So it's like I feel like I have the major anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 2019 was my first social media subjects, and I'd kind of like, I guess I didn't think I was kind of qualified enough to offer it as a freelancer. And then doing that course with you and learning like all the strategy stuff and like all the content creation and how it all works, like it was really helpful, I think, to then be like, oh, well, I could do this for people. Like I have got more knowledge than I thought. Like I had a year and a half of the degree under my belt. So it kind of gave me the confidence of that. And then once I went to the networking event, obviously like everyone's super nervous and like not sure what to expect. But I kind of felt like, actually, I think I know what I'm talking about. Like once you start talking to them and they ask you questions and like stuff was just rolling off my tongue and I was like, oh, I do know a lot about this. Like it's just surprising. I think everyone, like I remember you asked me to go on a video with you once because you said like I was one of the only students who was freelancing while studying. And I think that's one of the reasons, because when you're studying, you think like, oh, well, I can't do something whilst I'm studying because I'm just a student. I don't know anything. But it's like you actually know more than you think. And there's no like harm in trying, even if you offer it for cheap or if you offer, like I've said to a lot of people, try to offer like a few weeks free so you get experience. You can use it in your portfolio. And then at the end, if they love what you're doing, they'll hire you.
Yeah. And it's great advice. And I think too, like I keep encouraging, I mean, what a great way to earn money. That's, I mean, when I was at uni, I did all sorts of things. I worked in, I sold ladies' shoes. There's not anything wrong with that, but I sold ladies' shoes. I was a census collector for a while. And I mean, imagine not having to do that, but you can actually start working in the field that you want to work in. And earning money that way to support you while you study. I just think it's an amazing opportunity. But I think some students feel very daunted by it, and it's me just saying it when they actually see another student or even a recent grad, because you're only a day graduated doing it. It means it's just so much more powerful, to do that. So just to like, what is it? You can't be what you can't see. I hear that a lot. And so you're a great example of, of what you can do.
Oh, thanks. And I mean, as well, like I actually had a lot of the younger, like, because I went into this degree after I wasn't fresh 18. I was like 22, 23. So I was quite older, and you get a lot of 18-year-olds who are like fresh out of school going straight into these degrees. So I think it's a lot scarier for them. And I had a few of them kind of asking how did you get into the freelancing and things like that? Like they weren't, it is like a daunting thing on paper. Like you think of all the complex things like getting an ABN and do I set up a business bank account? Do I have a business name? But it can be as simple as like you just apply for an ABN under your own name and it's free. Like, and then you just kind of figure out the rest. Honestly, you Google a lot, or you ask you. Like I think I emailed you like 100 times being like, what should I do for this? Do I invoice? How do I do an invoice? Like, please help.
Yeah. And that's why I'm here. I'm happy to help. Actually, I've actually got down this year to develop a workshop so we can teach students how to set themselves up as sole traders,
Oh,
so that they can do that. So, because I know there are some students who are keen, but yeah, they just don't know what to do. So, yeah, so hopefully that'll be successful.
yeah, I'd really love, like at uni, I really wanted to start some kind of, I think I was talking to you about starting a social media society, like a club for at uni, but then COVID hit, so we couldn't.
Yeah,
But I'd really like to start something like that, like do some workshops for fellow, like, well, I am a student still, but like fellow people that are trying to get into the industry. And because there's so
yeah,
much, like, I wish I had something like that when I was starting out. You just
yeah,
kind of need.
totally. Yeah, like it's just for emerging social media professionals because I think it's really needed.
Yeah, definitely. And it would be
That
really,
would be great. And so you're saying like you are still a student, but you're just embarked on a master's degree.
yeah, I kind of just thought like whilst I'm in the study zone, I'll just keep the ball rolling. Because I find like, I don't know, I guess I was worried if I had a break that I wouldn't be able to get back into it and I would never do it. And I just think that like masters, from what I've heard, like it's really helpful. It adds that extra credential to your name. It's not for everybody. Like some people, like you were saying with you, you just like didn't want to go back after your degree, but you did. I just kind of
Just a little way.
yeah. Well, it's so different for everyone. It's like I did have to do a lot of looking into it because I know USC only offer like I think it's a Masters of Business Administration, and like that's not really what I was interested in. So
Yeah.
yeah, like you told me that you can do them online. I had no idea. Like I didn't even know how they worked. So you definitely just have to do your research, but there's really cool ones out there.
Yeah. Oh, that's really exciting. So I'd love to know some of the things that you're, as you get further into it, that you're learning from
Yeah,
that.
so much
Um,
stuff already.
and tell me what has been some of the best career advice you've been given along the way?
Um, Honestly, like probably to trust your gut. I think that like when you're like going through it and you're emerging and you think like, oh God, I need to be doing like, how am I going to get a job after? And there's all these kind of pressures and like you overthink everything and you get offered a few opportunities as you go. And I think people think they have to take every opportunity they're given, which obviously is good to like, you have to be grateful for the opportunities, but you also like, you don't have to take everything. Like I've had a few friends who were doing so much and would get like they were freelancing and they would get offered like or they would get a client who was a difficult kind of and it wasn't worth their while, and it's just like sometimes you've just got to think like, does this align with me? And like, A, do you have time for it? B, does it feel right? And yeah, I just think like I've actually had a few job interviews in the last few months of like, or job offers of full-time positions, but I don't know, I just didn't feel right. Like I actually love how I do the kind of freelancing thing, and it's better for me personally, like where I'm at in life, and it suits my lifestyle better rather than having like a full-time office job in a busy agency where I'm just a number. Do you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, like if going back to the question, I think just go with your gut. Like, don't feel like you have to do something because you feel like you have to, or there's pressure, or you think like, oh, well, it's a full-time job, I have to take it. Just kind of, yeah, trust your gut and make sure that everything kind of aligns with what you're wanting.
Yeah, and even taking, I guess, the time to sit down and work out what that is, like what sort of job do you want, and so then you've got a good idea too. And so, getting the job at Coastal Social Co. What do you think set you apart from other people going for that role?
Well, one of the requirements was to have an MBN, so I'd already kind of had that, which was good. And then I think honestly, like I'd followed well, it used to be Sunshine Coast Marketing and Media, but I'd followed them for ages. And I think the networking side of like, I kind of had a reputation because I knew a lot of people in the industry. I knew some girls who had worked there before because of networking in uni and stuff. And also I had a lot of experience with heaps of different clients. Like she knew that I could do the job because I'd followed her for ages and she'd followed me for ages. So she'd seen my work. And so I think that kind of gave me a leg up in the sense of, yeah, like she had already seen what I was doing and knew that it would align with her work. And she knew my personality through social media and having seen me on there. So she knew it aligned with her personality.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. And tell me, what's something that you learned at uni that you found really helpful in working out with clients?
I definitely gained a lot of the marketing knowledge, like the marketing subjects I did. I feel like later on it's been more obvious that I've learned something. When I was in it, I was kind of like, am I even learning? You know what I mean? When you kind of question it in, but then later on you're like, oh, actually, I feel like I'm really knowledgeable about this because of those courses.
Yeah.
And then, and with the social media stuff, I think it was really good to have that actual client experience. Like that was something that no other courses provided. And it's like, you can do all the theory, but if you're not actually learning to deal with the client, then it's hard to kind of do that for the first time on your own. And it's like you're getting paid and it's a lot of pressure. So I think your courses where you had a real client, so helpful because there wasn't as much pressure. If I mess something up or if I make a mistake, it's kind of covered. They know I'm a uni student and this is an assignment and it's practice. So they're not gonna, I'm not gonna get heaps of trouble. You know what I mean? So it was less pressure, but good, really good experience.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that because, and too, I think you get to almost have a taste of what it's like while having someone there who can give you advice at the same time. So sort of coach you through.
Yeah.
Some students, it's the first time they've even picked up the phone to speak to a client, and it's a very scary experience, So being able to actually give them some coaching and get that sort of those sort of normal skills you don't really think about until you're actually having to do them after you graduate. So getting practice, I think, is really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, doing internships is really important because you also then you get the experience of the assignment with the clients in your subjects. And then you also get to see how an agency or how a business does it. And you kind of get two different sides so that you're just building on that skill and you kind of find your own way to deal with clients or your own way to do strategies, and it's influenced by your subjects and your internship or things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's something that you really needed that you wished you were taught at university that we didn't teach you?
I think a lot of the jobs, I think it's very marketing, digital marketing especially is very ads focused, I've noticed. So when I was trying to apply for different jobs, they all required experience in Facebook ads, experience in Google ads, using MailChimp, all that kind of thing. So it was I felt like that was a bit of a gap. Maybe they should make a marketing course around digital marketing more, which I think they even have done since I've left. And just more maybe, I don't know I guess social media could come under Facebook ads. Maybe you could do one on Facebook ads. But yeah, I definitely think, although there's heaps of free tools where you can learn them, it's I wish there was kind of one where you could actually practice doing the ads, but it's just hard because it's people's actual money, obviously. So it's difficult.
Yeah. And I mean, in the social media management course, and then it's up to the client. So if the client wants ads, then the student gets the opportunity to run the ads for the client. But before that, it's sort of, it's hard to do that simulation. Without it.
It would definitely be good to kind of learn the theory behind it. Google ads, I feel is a whole other thing that it's a lot to learn and it's really intense. But Facebook ads, it would be cool to kind of have the basics of how to set it up or how you write them, and even the theory behind more of a copywriting course, I guess. I feel I'm a good writer, but I think the ad writing is a specific niche and you kind of need to be taught how to write salesy without seeming salesy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
totally. So yeah, and I think like I mean we have creative advertising, but I don't think it focuses so much on the social aspect. So maybe that's something, yeah, because I mean clearly with the actual social media courses, there's so much in there already.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I think that advertising definitely needs to be expanded.
Yeah, definitely. And even the analytics side, like it's like when you're doing ads, you have a tangible result that you show the client. Hey, I made you $10,000 in a month. Like you can show them those results. And when you do the Google Ads training, you kind of learn what everything means, but it's very analytical. Like you kind of need to have an analytical brain, I think. Whereas social media, it's harder to have that tangible evidence because not everything is super obvious. Like if someone finds a business on Instagram and they click through to their website, that gets tracked. But if they find it and then they go, oh, I'm going to look at this on my desktop, that's not tracked, you know? So it's like there's a big gap.
Yeah.
So it's difficult.
Yeah. So no, definitely stuff to consider for the future because there'll be big changes in terms of courses coming. So the university sector is ever changing. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
Now, in the last 2 weeks, what is a social media hack or skill or something that you've learned that you could share with us?
Ooh, I feel like I'm like learning new stuff every day. Like there's so many changes with like all the reels and everything. But I recently saw that Instagram, and it's not even a recent thing, so I don't know why I haven't seen it, but I saw that they do guides. Like,
Yeah.
what was that?
Yeah.
And I like, yeah, like it was apparently May last year that they released it, but I haven't ever seen it. And I just think it's such a cool tool. Even like, it's great for businesses, but it's so cool to do like a blog. Like if you want to like, you just went on a trip and you want to give them your highlights of like a little blog post type of thing on your Instagram. Like I just think it's such a cool feature.
Yeah, like I wasn't even aware of it until I did a workshop for Tourism Noosa, and one of the marketing team from Tourism Noosa said, "Oh, what about guides?" And I was like, "What?" And then she showed me, wow, because I mean, from Tourism Noosa, like it's perfect because it yeah, like I mean, it captures like destination marketing beautifully.
Yeah.
You can just imagine all the different things you could cover. But I haven't used it myself, but yeah, it's a fantastic tool. So for those watching, it's like it's like a web page almost around a particular. You can pick the topic and you can put images on there. Can you link through to other things on there?
I'm not sure. I had a brief play around the other day, and I think a lot of clothing. I saw a lot of clothing brands do them, and they do the shop. I think you can link like your shop to it. So
yeah.
how to style jeans, and then you'd have like 3 different pairs of jeans that you could link through to the shop. Like that'd be such a good tool.
Yeah, no, it's great. Definitely something to have a play with.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give to emerging social media professionals or current students about how to succeed in their careers?
I definitely think upskill in your own time. Like there's so much, like a lot of people kind of think, oh, I'll do it in the holidays or whatever. And that's fair. Like when you're doing 4 subjects and working, it gets a lot. But like definitely find time to do the free courses. Like I know in your courses, there was quite a lot of free courses through like Hootsuite and stuff that you offered that I never actually got around to doing, which I kicked myself for. But it's like you feel so busy. You just need to make a list of like, okay, in the holidays, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Google has heaps of free courses, LinkedIn Learning, Facebook Blueprint. Like I think that sets you apart when you graduate. Like, oh, I'm Google certified, or oh, I'm certified in this, or I've worked with MailChimp before, or things like that. And also the other thing is networking for sure. Like go to all the free networking events, go to the paid ones, like make connections, because marketing is 100% who you know to a degree. Like obviously it's what you know as well, but relationships definitely help. And like I've seen it firsthand, like so many of the agencies on the coast kind of prefer to hire people they know or promote in-house, and it's a bit devastating sometimes, but it's how it is. So you're better off going, and it can be scary, but like you can go. I went with like friends that were doing the degree with me. Sometimes I went alone, and you just kind of have to like suck it up and like socialize, introduce yourself to people, make a good impression, and it really helps. Like it helps you get job offers, but even just like maybe they'll follow you back, and then years down the track they'll be like, oh, I followed you for ages, I remember meeting you, do you want a job? You know what I mean? Like it's just things like that.
Yeah. And do you think networking gets easier? Like the more that you do it, you get used to. And I found, because believe it or not, I'm a bit of an introvert, and I find too that you sort of, a lot of people go to the same networking events too, and so you meet people there that you can then go and chat to if you're, that you've seen at another networking event. So there's always someone there that you can talk to who can introduce you to new people. But it's just a matter of getting yourself out there.
Exactly. Yeah. I think they do get easier. Like I'm an extrovert, and I'm very like social and confident, but I still get like a bit anxious and nervous. And there's been times where I've gone to ones that are a bit more like, I don't know, like I've been to ones where it's like small businesses, like Luke Hawley does the LinkedIn local ones.
Yeah.
And then I've been to ones that are like more serious, kind of big agencies run it and stuff, and been like really scared to go in, and been like calling my boyfriend like, oh, I'm just freaking out. Like, should I maybe not go in? Like, I'm just a student. I don't know. But it's ridiculous. Like you just have to think anything you're thinking, like what's the worst that can happen? They're going to think, why is she here? Like they're not going to say it to you. Like they're going to be polite to you. So it's like, who cares what they think? And they're probably not thinking it. Like I think that's something you always have to remember. Like no one's looking at you. You're not that important. So I think I just think it's so important. Like I actually went to a few from this local one in Noosa called Reboot. And
yes, that's a great one.
Yeah, it's so good. And I like, they asked everyone that was new to introduce themselves, and at the time I was like doing a podcast and stuff, and I mentioned that, and then like the next few weeks everyone was like, how's your podcast doing? And like they followed it, and then like a week after that someone was on talking about the importance of podcasts, and someone was like, yeah, like Jessie's podcast, and then it's just like I was like, oh, everyone knows my podcast again. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's actually quite a nice community as well. And like, I met all these people and business owners and agency owners and people even like me that were emerging, that you can kind of get advice off of and like bounce off of, as well as finding those connections for potential job opportunities.
Yeah, it's such a good thing to do. And you're right about, it is who you know, because often it's who you know before you sort of let in the door to show what you know. So,
Exactly.
And making those connections also is evidence of your experience as a marketer and a communicator, because it's all about relationships at the end, isn't it? Like building relationships with the customer or whoever. It's all about your ability to do that.
Yeah, and even with my Oh Hello Social Co, like I haven't tried to advertise services. I've literally just done it for fun and like, gone on stories and talked about stuff like my own life and just kind of put me into it, like a personality into it. And a lot of the inquiries I've had have been people like, I had a lady from New York and a lady from Byron and someone from Melbourne, and they've said, we saw your reel and like we thought your personality like was really cool, so we want to work with you, we love your vibe. Or like someone, so it's like it's all about the personality you put into it as well, like, and that has to reflect when you go to network events as well.
Yeah, and so and often I find pretending to be confident, eventually the confidence comes, but it's just pretending. And one tip I do is like, if I just go up to someone who's standing on their own, who looks petrified, and stop and start talking to them.
That's how you make it.
Yeah, this is my secret tip. So you know what I do now when I go. But
that's a good tip though, because otherwise you're just hovering awkwardly and like trying to join groups. You're like, hi. But everyone's really friendly and welcoming. Like the point of the events is to network. So everyone is there for the same purpose. And like I would go in shit scared, like, oh God, I'm gonna look super awkward and like they'll think I'm like a noob kind of thing, but they all were like, hi, who are you? Like, come talk, come introduce yourself. Like, they're all so friendly. It's never like oh, you're a student, you don't know anything.
No, not at all. I've never found that either. And one of the most important questions of this show is, who do you like, share, and follow?
Oh, so I've been really like following this girl on Instagram for ages now, who's a social media manager and content creator in the Gold Coast called Sweeter Social. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's so she shares some really cool tips. She does like reels all the time. Like she's kind of, I think she's like paving the way. She's probably got like 60,000 followers now.
Right.
But when I started following her, she was smaller, and she's just grown through like reels and all her tips. Like, she gives really cool Canva hacks. Her branding is like beautiful. Her like logo is like a peach. So it's all like peach colored. And I just think she does everything so well. She shows her behind the scenes of like product photography and how it kind of comes out. And yeah, I just love her. Like, I aim to be her, to be honest.
Well, can you make sure you tag her in the post of this video so then we can follow her as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and anyone else that you can recommend?
Yeah, I follow, I only wrote down one, but I follow a lot of kind of people in that industry for sure. I'm not going to be able to find it on Under Pressure, but no one else comes to like, I'm under pressure.
That's okay, no problem. But I also wanted to ask, do you have, because we're sort of wrapping up now, do you have any final words to share with the people watching?
I think just like be yourself. I know that sounds obvious, but if you just be yourself, and you have to like I think, give your all, because the whole like P's get degrees attitude people have, or like doing the bare minimum to get your degree, like it doesn't work. And I think I always put 110% into everything. I tried really hard at uni to get PhDs and stuff, and although you can pass with average marks, like getting HDs actually kind of gives you a bit of a leg up, in the sense of then your lecturers and people like know you and know that you do good work. So they're more likely to like help you out. They're more likely to give you opportunities. Like, you've given me so many clients, so many job opportunities, and so have other lecturers, because they know that I'm a hard worker and they've seen the kind of work I do. So I think make sure you're giving it your all, and make sure you're giving it your own spin, and making sure you're kind of showing who you are.
Absolutely. And also letting your lecturers know that you're actually open for that you are interested in finding work or finding clients and things like that, because then we know, like, we know we're not going to just like magically send offers to you when we don't even know if you want them.
No. So, like you've got to make sure your lecturers know who you are. Like, a lot of people are so shy and nervous, and they kind of sit in the back and don't like to be like identified or talked to, and it scares them. But you kind of want them to know your name, because then things do come. And like I'm sure if like you got given an opportunity, you wouldn't think of the person that, I can't remember her name, she sits on the back, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of think of the annoying people who talk a lot and answer the questions and come up to you after and chat, and you're like, I need to get to my lecture. But
and I mean, particularly when you're learning about marketing and communication, like, it's important that you start practicing that and those skills like, while you're at uni, because you're going to need them.
Yeah, and your lecturers and tutors are like some of your most valuable knowledge. What do you call it? Like, they give valuable knowledge. So it's like, you should like make the most of that while you're there.
Oh, good. Oh, that's great advice. Thanks, Jessie.
I'm glad.
So that's the end of this week's episode. So thank you so much. And next week we're going to have, if fingers crossed, if it all works out, Jess Elms, who's the lead digital marketer at Pixel Code Creative. So, but I'll confirm that later. And thank you again, Jessie, and congratulations on your graduation and all success.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It was so fun.
Excellent. Thank you. See you next week.